Right, welcome back to the channel. We are in the workshop today because the weather forecast isn't that great. Showers, thunder, everything bar snow apparently. So what we're doing, this is my Tomos A35, but as you can probably see by that conrod, it's not an A3 engine, it's an A35 engine, and it's got an FSL cylinder kit on it as well. And the reason it's in bits is because the threaded hole in the case here got damaged by a bit of carelessness on my part. How does that happen? Well, I'll show you next. So this is a cylinder stud. It's M7 both ends, but you'll notice there's a short thread that end, long thread that end. The long thread is the one that goes inside the case. The short one is the one that the cylinder head nut and washer goes on. If you by accident put them the wrong way around, if you're not paying attention or being mindful of what you're doing, like I did, what happens is as you're tightening the stud into the hole, instead of that end stopping as it bottoms out in the case, it keeps going and it drags the threads at the top of the hole with it, and eventually it'll just start spinning. So no matter how much you then try and tighten the nut up on this end, it just tries to pull the stud out of the hole. So what is the fix for that? Well, you've pretty much got to go up the next size in cylinder head stud, but the problem you've got is you can drill and tap the hole in the case out to M8, right? But if you use a stud that's M8 at both ends, that end won't fit through that hole there. So the answer to that is you need a stud that's M8 one end, M7 that end, and it tapers down so it'll fit. And that's what this is. It was actually listed for a Vespa. I think it was a PK50 or an SS90. It's 140mm long, so it's 20mm too long for this engine. So what I have to do is cut an additional 20mm of M7 thread this end, and then take off the excess on the end of it. The hole in the case was drilled out with a 6.8mm drill bit, and then retapped with a M8 by 1.25 tap, which is why the rag is stuffed in there, because you don't want swarf and stuff getting inside there, and it'll ruin your engine when as soon as you start it up. It seems to be holding. I won't tell for sure until I reassemble it and torque it up, but I'm pretty confident. I was going to film the whole process of doing this, but I had a little bit of an issue with actually getting the carburetor and the inlet manifold off, and I'll explain that now. So an A35 usually has a Delorto SHA 1412 carb. I'm using an SHA 1616, which for some reason is a slightly taller carb than the 1412. And to take advantage of the bigger bore, I made my own big bore inlet manifold, which enables me to retain the stock position of the carb beneath the frame. The only problem is, because the carb is slightly taller, it's a swine to get in there. I essentially had to drop this part here as low as possible while still lining up with the reed valve block. You see how close it is to the gasket there, so that the carb sat lower in the top of the engine to enable the throttle cable to clear the inside of the frame, and it is a real tight fit. I've decided that for ease of maintenance I'm going to have to modify this, so I'm going to essentially put the carb outside the frame, put a piece of pipe that goes from there to about here, maybe with a bend in it, I'm not sure yet, which will allow things like changing the jets, cleaning it, if the throttle cable breaks, that kind of thing. It's going to be a much more easier job to do on the side of the road than it is now. So and I've got an idea what to put in place of the carb. So that's where the carb usually sits. So I'm going to reposition my ignition coil from the side of the frame to under there. which will keep it out of the weather. I won't have to use this rubber inner tube anymore. Stop it getting sprayed with water when I'm riding in the rain. So hopefully that's going to work out. I hope this is useful. There'll be a second part to this once it's all back up and running, and hopefully the repair works, because I haven't got another spare A35 crankcase. I'd have to basically strip the crank out and put it inside an A3 case, and I don't really want to do that at the moment in time. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you all again soon.